Well, Joe, Miss Harris, would you raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air?
There it is.
Miss Harris, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You can put your hand down. All right, let's check some service on this case. I'm going to show that Mr. Joe was personally served with citation under the rules of civil procedure for inmates being served. It looks like he was served on 9/14/23. That citation was returned on file on 9/29 of 23. Mr. Joe, however, has also filed an answer in this case. Not unheard of. One
Mhm.
second, y'all. Let me look at this answer. It's a long answer, y'all. Be patient with me. Nothing dispositive in his answer, but I have read his answer, and I'll take judicial notice of it. Um, let's see if the state sent him notice of this hearing. Now, he did file an answer. The court's going to admit into evidence on its own record, on its own motion, the notice of hearing that was sent by the state of Texas. Mr. Schlett, you'll make sure that that notice gets e-filed.
Yes, Your Honor, will do.
All right. It does contain certified mail notice to Mr. Joe. It was sent to the place and location designated by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. All right. You can go forward with your default, Mr. Schlett.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll ask the court to take judicial notice of the prior controlling order in this case.
The court will take judicial notice of its own file.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'll offer into evidence the pay record in this case as State's Exhibit A.
Ms. Harris, I don't think you can see this, but I've just placed on the record a copy of the alleged pay record between you and Mr. Joe. Is it okay if I look at this pay record?
Yes, sir, that's fine.
State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, now I will call Ms. Harris. All right. Was Mr. Joe ordered to pay child support for this child?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is Mr. Joe currently incarcerated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I will offer into evidence the inmate information sheet as State's Exhibit B.
Ms. Harris, I've now placed on the record a copy of the Inmate Information Details Report from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. May I review this report?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. State Exhibit B is admitted into evidence.
And thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have for this witness. I passed this witness.
All right. So, Ms. Harris, based on what the state's asking me to do, they're saying, Judge, Mr. Joe is behind in his child support. We want the court to make a finding how far he's behind in order him to pay that back. But we're also saying that he's currently in prison and he's going to be there for at least the next 90 days. What type of health insurance do you have on the child, Ms. Harris?
He's on Medicaid.
Okay. They'll ask me to confirm that you can continue to use that health insurance as well as set Mr. Joe's child support and his medical support to zero due to the fact he's incarcerated. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you don't have to agree with the state's position, Ms. Harris, but if you do, that's fine too. But I would like to hear your opinion. Do you have any objection to me modifying the child support for as long as Mr. Joe is incarcerated?
No, sir, it's fine.
Okay. Ms. Harris, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
No, I was receiving about 4 months of child support before he was incarcerated, but other than that, I wasn't getting anything anyway, so it's okay.
Okay. The court will find the court's jurisdiction. The court's going to find, based on the testimony of Ms. Harris and States Exhibit A and B, that there has been a material substantial change of circumstance in this case. I'm going to modify Mr. Joe's child support, find that he is currently incarcerated, and he's going to be there for at least the next 90 days. Therefore, his child support will be reduced to zero, and his medical support will be reduced to zero. That will be effective January the 1st of 2024, Mr. Schlett. I'll order Ms. Harris to maintain the current health insurance that she has on the child. I'm going to make a finding in regards to the deficits owed by Mr. Joe and find that as of December the 31st of 2023, Mr. Joe is behind in his child support the amount of $33,820.06 and his medical support the amount of $2,672.99. The child support is going to be ordered and paid back at a rate of $300 per month, and the medical support will be paid back at a rate of $30 a month. both payments also being effective January the 1st of 2024. Court cost in this case will be due by Mr. Joe, but I will give him until August the 31st of 2024 to pay my court cost. Mr. Schlett, did the state of Texas hear all the terms and conditions of my court order?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Harris, Mr. Schlitt's office is going to send me a proposed order. If it matches what I said here today, I'm going to sign it and get it back to them. Then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to you and to Mr. Joe, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about the ruling today, ma'am?
Just once he is released, will it pick back up or no?
No, they'll have to file a lawsuit, bring it back in front of me, and I'll start the child support back up once he's released. And I'll offer you one nickel's worth of free advice. Ms. Harris, you may realize that he's out of jail before the state does, so you might want to contact them when you learn, about within 30 days that he's going to be released so they can start the paperwork.
Okay, no problem.
They're usually pretty good about following up on that, but I mean, it's to your benefit to try to help them keep track of it.
Right. Okay.
Ms. Anna Nunez, I need you to raise your right hand to tell me that your hand is in the air.
It's in the air.
Ms. Nunez, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You can put your hand down. Elias Abar, please raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air.
My hand is in the air.
Mr. Abar, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down.
Thank you.
You have any other witnesses, Mr. Schlett?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Jennifer Teague.
Jennifer Teague, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. All right. For the record, the court's going to note that the state of Texas filed a motion in October of 2023 to adjust the child support that Mr. Ibarra is paying to Ms. Nunez. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can call your first witness.
Okay, thank you. Before we do that, I'll ask the court to take judicial notice of the prior controlling order in this case.
The court will take judicial notice of its own file, including the controlling support order.
Thank you, Your Honor. And now I will call Mr. Ibarra. Were you ordered in the past to pay child support for the support of Noah?
Was an agreement for $420 that we put into a court order that was printed as such.
Okay. And what was the amount that you were ordered to pay then?
We had agreed upon $420.
Okay. Do you have health insurance available through your job for Noah?
Yes.
Is he currently covered on that health insurance?
Yes.
How much does that cost you per month?
It cost me roughly $217, $216.96, something like that. For medical.
Okay, now that $216.96, is that only for Noah, or does that include anyone else on there?
Because of how the medical insurance works, it covers multiple children, regardless of how many, if it's 1 or 10.
Okay, how many other children does it cover?
I have 2 children that are covered under that insurance policy.
Okay, are you also covered under that insurance policy?
Yes, that's because of the way the insurance works. I'm required to have medical insurance under that to have children covered.
Okay, so for that $216.96 per month that you pay, that covers you and 2 other children and 2 children, including Noah, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so 3 people total.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. Now, where do you currently work, Mr. Ibarra?
I currently work in Port Arthur as a security account manager.
All right. What company do you work for?
Allied University Services, Security Services.
Okay. What do you get paid doing that?
Roughly 72,000 a year on salary.
How long have you been making that 72,000 a year?
I started that job on, I believe it was September 25th or August 25th, 24th, around that time. So roughly about 5 months.
Okay. And before that, what were you doing for work?
Before that, I was unemployed from between June and August. And before that, I was a behavioral coordinator at a middle school in Beaumont, Texas, making approximately 51 or 52,000 per year. Hourly, or 25 per hour is what it was.
Okay, take a step back. Did you say you were unemployed from when to when?
From June 2023 until August, until I started this job with Allied. And I did, I believe it was 1 month that I took Texas unemployment. Might have been
Okay, how
2
much
weeks.
was that?
I don't have the paperwork with me, but it might have been maybe $500 total.
Okay, and before June, you were working where?
Green Dot Public Schools at King Middle School as a behavior coordinator, working with the youth.
Okay. How much did you get paid at that job?
$25 per hour.
And how long did you work at that job?
From September 2002 until May of 2023. So 1 school year. I may have been quote unquote employed between June and July. However, we were not working, so I did not get paid for those times.
Okay, so for June and July, were you still receiving paychecks from the school?
No.
Okay. So did your job just end at the end of the school year? Or were you let go from that job? How did that job end?
It's very hard to explain because we didn't work because the school was out, but we also didn't get paid if we weren't there because I was hourly. So they didn't have any opportunity for us to work summer school due to their financial issues. So I was essentially unemployed or put on leave until the next school year, which I did not start.
Now, but your paychecks during the school year, did they account for those months that you wouldn't be working during the summer break?
No.
No, they did not.
Okay.
No, they did not.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. His contract is for a year. And generally speaking, I think teachers are allowed to either spread their paycheck over the entire 12 months or just for the 10 months they're in school.
Okay, understood. Okay. Now, Mr. Ibarra, do you have any extraordinary expenses that will be coming up for you over the course of this next year?
Yes. On November 10th of this past year, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer that has spread to my lymph nodes. So I have had one surgery and 2 other procedures that I guess a biopsy and one other procedure. We also got a catheter port put into my chest, multiple x-rays, CAT scans, PET scans. I start chemotherapy on February 5th, and it's going to be a minimum of 3 cycles. My out-of-pocket expense max is $9,100 to my insurance. So the expectation is that between now and the end of my treatment, I will have to pay $9,000 out of pocket, $9,100 out of pocket.
Okay. Now, I know that you said this, but you said a lot. So what upcoming procedures do you have?
I have multiple scans throughout this thing, but currently we're going to take the BP cancer treatment. which is a total of 9 weeks minimum. So each session is going to go from Monday through Friday. So I believe it's $500 per session. So at least $2,500 per week is what we're looking at. And now, granted, when I signed the insurance form, that was at 20% insurance, but my insurance says that I actually pay 40%. So I'm expecting to pay $1,000 per day that I take this treatment.
But you said it was 9,000, right?
Yeah, my total out-of-pocket cost. So by the time we get,
and when does your treatment start?
it starts Monday the 5th next week.
So it's now.
Yes, sir.
And how long do you anticipate that it's going to last?
9 weeks.
9 weeks.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to have to pay that entire 9,000 in the next 9 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Slade. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Hunter. Okay. Mr. Ibarra, do you have any other children?
Yes, I do have one other child, Ethan, which I have a split joint managing conservatorship, and he stays with me 50% a year.
Okay. Is that child under the age of 18?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. I passed the witness, Your Honor.
Call you next week.
I'll call Miss Nunez. All right. Do you have insurance available for Noah?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is it through your employer?
No, I recently applied for Medicaid for him because he didn't have insurance for a couple months, and his insurance usually changes like every month, maybe every 6 months. So I didn't want him to not have insurance. So he has CHIP right now.
Okay. Now, you heard Mr. Ibarra telling us about his cancer diagnosis. Has Mr. Ibarra spoken with you about that?
He has not. I heard it from my son the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay. You haven't had any conversations about how you might make that work with Mr. Ibarra? And no.
No, I have not.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's all I have for this witness. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Call you next week.
And no further witnesses, Your Honor. Stay rest.
All right. I got some questions. Mr. Ibarra, can you unmute, please?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're currently working for, what is the name of the company you're working for now?
Allied Universal.
All right. And they're paying you $72,000 a year, right?
That's correct, sir.
All right. You're going to be able to continue to work throughout your treatment?
So what I talked about with my general manager is that I will probably be put on leave of absence, at least at the minimum during the week that I'm taking the treatment. I'm thinking probably 2 weeks every treatment due to depending on the side effects. So I'm anticipating
So for the next 2 months, you're going to have some difficult time.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this $9,000 that you're going to have to copay with your insurance, do you intend to pay that in the next 9 weeks?
Yes, sir. I believe that if I don't pay, they won't give me the chemo, the treatment if I'm not if I'm behind.
So whatever happens,
yes, sir.
by April 1st, it's going to be over.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. You said that you have medical insurance on you and the 2 children. Do you also have dental insurance?
Yes, sir.
Is that part of that $215, $216 a month, or is there an additional charge for the dental?
No, sir. It's an additional $48.20.
All right,
and I also have eye for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the state of Texas doesn't require you to carry eye insurance. Well, I'm glad that you do, but you're not required to do it. But the dental is required, and you said that's $48 a month, and again, that covers all 3 of y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this job that you have at Allied, Mr. Ibarra, is that pretty solid? Is it someplace you think you're going to be able to, a job you're going to be able to keep for a while?
Oh, yes, sir. I think that's going to be a, a necessity, unfortunately, given the circumstances with this cancer. And there is, well, one of my fears is that, with the treatment that I am taking, there are some pretty hard side effects. One of those being that I could get a secondary cancer, a different
Right.
type. Um, so if all goes well and we can get treated, then I'm probably going to have to stick with them to cover expenses. And
Okay.
so, yes, sir.
Ms. Nunez, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Yes, sir, I do.
What's that?
Prior to on May 2022nd, Noah had to have some dental work done,
Mm-hmm.
which came out being a little over $1,000 that I had to pay up front.
Okay.
Going back to the divorce papers, it does say that we are to do 50-50 on anything that's paid out of pocket. So
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Elias had to pay $534. And even if I've messaged him like every month or every week, he still owes $140. And this is from a dental work that he had back in May 2022.
Okay. So,
That's
Ms.
one.
Nunez, I'm very restricted in what I can rule on, okay? In order for me to
Okay.
make a ruling on your behalf regarding unpaid medical expenses, there has to be a specific type of lawsuit filed in my court. That is not before me today, so I'm not allowed to make a
Okay.
ruling on that. Hopefully, Mr. Obara do what the divorce decree advises him that he's required to do, and a lawsuit won't be necessary, okay? But if that
Okay.
happens, if the money is not forwarded the way it's supposed to be, then you have the right to hire an attorney or go through the AG's office and see if they'll file the lawsuit for that additional balance, assuming that it's owed. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But that's
Another
not
thing
before me
was
today,
that,
so I can't rule on that.
okay, that's okay. Before he, I guess, was told that he had cancer, he was not agreeing to the amount just because he wanted to keep it at 420
Sure.
for absolutely no reason. So I don't know if that would have anything to do with it, but apart from that, he also has some ammo business, which he not too long ago sponsored for some shooting event that
Okay.
was posted on social media.
Okay.
So if he's providing free ammunition from his company, I'm
Mhm.
not sure how that could be a priority as to why he's not able to pay the child support that he's supposed to, but he can give out free ammo for.
I don't know. That's why it's in front of you, Miss Nunez. So I'm the one that's going to have to make the decision on how much he's going to have to pay.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't have to agree, Miss Nunez.
Right, I understand.
I mean, whether you or I or anybody else thinks that it's the right thing to do is irrelevant. He doesn't have to agree to the terms that the state of Texas tells him he's supposed to do. He can say, you know what, I'm going to take my shot and go in front of the judge. That's his right.
Right.
It's every citizen's right to do that, to take advantage of the legal system that we have.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir, that was it. Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Abar, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Well, Your Honor, I just wanted to, to give my part of the portion in regards to this. You know, I just want to say that I do my best to support my child, especially emotionally and being physically there, as well as financially. Even though, of course, I don't agree with a lot of these hearings and, well, the child support, excuse me, that's my work phone.
Turn your phone
I
off, Mr.
apologize
Abar.
for that.
Yeah.
It's the work one that they almost put a setting where you can't turn it off. But I do appreciate the court considering these extenuating circumstances that I didn't foresee, and it's my job as a parent to be there for my child and support him as much as possible, and that includes helping his mother as well. So I appreciate the court allowing me to come before you guys and plead my
Sure.
case, and I do request that due to these circumstances that's taken into consideration at least for the next year or two.
Why?
Until why?
Why would it be a year or two, Mr. Barr? This treatment is supposed to be finished by your own testimony in the next 60 to 90 days.
Just because of the amount of money that I have to put out as soon as
You said
possible.
that it was
could
going to
be
be,
debt.
that it was going to be paid in the next 60 to 90 days. Why would I let it drag on for years?
Well, if over a course of like at least a year due to debt, because if I don't have the cash money, I'd have to go to
Oh, well,
credit
see,
card.
Mr. Barr, that's specifically why I asked you if you were going to have this money paid in the next 60 to 90 days, and you said you were.
Oh, yes, sir. Utilizing
Now you're
credit
saying that
cards.
no, that's not what's going to happen, that you're going to take out some type of a debt situation where you're going to pay in installment basis the money that you owe to the insurance company and the hospitals.
I understand, Your Honor.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I was able to say it because, yeah, the thought process
Okay, well,
I would have
hold
to pay
on,
it.
hold
Yes,
on.
sir.
Well,
Okay.
that changes completely how I was going to rule.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that goes. I mean, I was going to take into consideration that you were going to lose $9,000 in the next 60 days, and you're not going to lose $9,000 in 60 days. You're going to lose $9,000 sometime in the next year or two.
Yes, sir. With
Well,
interest.
that's what I mean. That's just a debt, Mr. Ibarra.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any specific knowledge, Mr. Ibarra, that this 9,000, that your current job situation is going to change? You're not going to make the $6,000 a month that you're currently making?
I don't know. It depends on how the
Okay.
situation, I cannot, if this cancer does get worse or we have to resort to 6 treatments, then, it may, and I'd say that on the sale of the
Sure.
health thing.
And Mr. Barr, I want you to know, I do hope that everything works out for you. I do.
Yes, sir.
I mean, but the problem is that I can't set child support, Mr. Ibarra, on what you might do in the future. Okay.
Understandable.
That's what a future lawsuit would be required to take into consideration for.
Yes.
Right now, I have to set child support based on what you earn and what your health insurance is. I would take into consideration the extraordinary healthcare cost that you're going to have, except for the fact that it's an extraordinary healthcare cost of $9,000 that you're going to pay over the next year or two. So, if I'm just looking at it on that basis, we're talking about anywhere from $300 to $600 a month that you have to pay. Well, that's just another debt. I mean, that's just a debt. I mean, it's a used car payment. It's cell phone bill. That's what it is. And and while I understand that it is an emergency or at least a medical cost, Mr. Barr, it's still just a debt. And the laws of my state are that your debts are irrelevant when it comes to child support. Whatever you earn, that's what child support is supposed to be based on.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah, like I say, if that was something that you were going to have to pay that, $4,500 a month for the next 2 months, that would certainly have an impact on how I was going to set your child support. But if it's just going to be a debt that you're going to carry over the next year or two, I can't consider it.
I understand that. Well, and I don't even have that money. I mean, I might be able to put, I'm going to put 3,000 this month, but
Right.
I don't know how else to pay for that because I won't, we don't have that kind of money to.
Right. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Mr. Barr, to stay healthy. That's just, and the child, no one needs you to be healthy. I mean, that's neither here nor there. And don't misunderstand, Mr. Barr, the fact that you are or are not a good parent is irrelevant to me in regards to the lawsuit that's in front of me today. The lawsuit in front of me today is just about numbers. It's just math.
Yes.
Okay. It's just math. Whether or not you're a good dad or a bad dad is irrelevant to the lawsuit that I have in my courtroom today.
Understood.
On. Anything further from the state?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
The court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find, based on the testimony of the parties, that there has been a material and substantial change of circumstance. Based on the testimony of the parties here today, this is the ruling of the court. Mr. Ibarra will maintain the health insurance and the dental insurance on Noah through his employer at this time. I gave him $70 credit toward the health insurance and $15 toward the dental. Child support is going to be set at $800 per month. That did give him credit for one of the dependent. That will be effective February the 1st today, February 1st of 2024. Court costs due by Mr. Ibarra, but I will give him until, let's say August the 31st. of 2024. Does that take care of all the issues before me in this case today, Mr. Slett?
Yes, it does, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Nunez, Mr. Ibarra, what's going to happen now is Mr. Slett's going to send me a new court order. If it matches what I said here today, I'm going to sign it, give it back to them, then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to each of you. You don't have to be satisfied with the ruling that I've made today. If either party is dissatisfied with the ruling, you have 3 business days with which to file a written notice of appeal with the Jefferson County District Clerk's office. Your appeal has to be specific. You got to tell the district court above me what part of my ruling you disagree with, and you're also responsible for sending a copy of that written appeal to all the other non-appealing parties. All right. Mr. Nunez, Mr. Ibarra, I appreciate your patience here today. I appreciate your candor, being honest with me. You're free to go. Try to have a good weekend. And good luck to you, Mr. Ibarra. I really do mean that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's a difficult treatment, but